Okay. Welcome Ranjeet bhai to this Sarasbaug study circle. I really have pleasure to invite you to this Sarasbaug study circle, and I also like to thank our Central Council member C.A. Chandrasekhar Chitare, who is instrumental for you to invite to this session of the Sarasbaug study circle. Because of him, we can only call you and for this very important topic, code of ethics. I would like to appraise the members that as per the CPE directorate, every study circle and every branch has to take a program on the code of ethics and as well as on the standard of auditing. So it was in my mind to take one program, and I had discussed this matter with our Central Council member C.A. Chandrasekhar Chitare, and he said for the code of ethics there is only one person who can give you the best guidance or best advice, and that is C.A. Ranjeet Kumar Agarwal, because he is instrumental and he is the main person at the helm of affairs for drafting this revised code of ethics 2019. C.A. Ranjeet Kumar Agarwal is a Central Council member, and now it is his second term. Last year he was the chairman of the Professional Development Committee of ICAI, which implemented the bank branch audit software. Then he has also conceptualized and implemented the UDIN as chairman of the PDC, a landmark reform of ICAI, and presently he is the convener of study group constituted to implement UDIN concept in all SAARC countries, that is Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, etc. As chairman of the Ethical Standard Board of ICAI in 2019, he has revised the code of ethics after a gap of 10 years. He is currently convener of UDIN Directorate and chairman of Capital Market and Investor Protection Committee. He is also the chairman of Tax Audit Quality Review Board, and he has also a social commitment also. He is attached with Lions Club, Bara Bajar Library, Kolkata, JCI, then Friends of Tribal Societies, etc. And one striking feature I would like to in a lighter vein, that he is the Kolkata Police Traffic Warden. So Ranjeet bhai, I really congratulate you. I had been at Kolkata for 2-3 times, and whatever traffic I had seen. So this is the main, this is the most difficult job, I think, that being a Kolkata Police Traffic Warden. And we the Punais have also very much accustomed to this traffic. So you also in 2-3 sentences we inform what is this Kolkata Police Traffic Warden. So with this, I now hand over to C.A. Chandrasekhar Chitare, Central Council member, to give his opening remarks, and then we will start with the session. Thank you, Ranjeet bhai.
Dhanyawad Jagdish, and good morning to all of you who have joined this very important webinar. Before I really commence, let me tell you that as far as this Kolkata traffic is concerned, unfortunately, Ranjeet bhai is so engrossed in Central Council work and matters relating to the profession that he is not able to implement code of ethics for the purpose of traffic in Kolkata. Maybe on some other occasion he will do so. So, my dear brother in council, C.A. Ranjeet Kumar Agarwal, the convener of the study circle and backbone of this study circle, C.A. Jagdish Dongde, and Sachin Maniyar, who is coordinating this, and all of you, my friends. It's my pleasure to really join this particular seminar, and even if wherever Ranjeet bhai speaks on code of ethics, it is really a treat to listen. Before I really talk on this code of ethics, let me inform you one announcement, that as you are aware that multiple empanelment from MEF, the last date was yesterday, but it has been extended to 10th of November. So those of you who have not been able to do it so far, maybe they can hurry up and accomplish their task of registration for MEF by 10th of November. If you find that there are certain errors in the form which has been floated, as far as your particulars are concerned, maybe those things also you can interact with PDC secretary, and then the things may be lined up. So this is as far as this MEF form is concerned. Now coming to this code of ethics, as we are aware that whenever we are doing any business or profession, the computer is indispensable. If you don't know the computers, maybe you will not be able to do business. As far as CAs are concerned, you will be out of profession. That is the thing as of today. So similar manner, if we are practicing any profession, be it chartered accountancy or be it anything else, one has to do the business ethically. And unless the business is backed by ethics, it never grows. As far as profession is concerned, it is all the more important because the clients pose confidence in chartered accountants, and even confidential information is made available to him. So there are certain parameters of a profession, and which profession has voluntarily adopted upon itself just to give confidence to our clientele, to the society at large, to all the stakeholders. Earlier we had code of conduct, and later on it was renamed as code of ethics. So those code of ethics we are following, we are understanding. But then as far as our profession is concerned, it has been exposed globally. So it is not that the clients seeking the professional assistance from a chartered accountant in India are only from India. They may be from across the globe, they may be from advanced countries, they may be from other countries, and we have to really serve them. So whenever any such client, whether within country or beyond, she should be available with some assurance that these are the minimum standards with which a profession functions, like confidentiality, like proficiency, etc. Now internationally also, as far as the profession of chartered accountancy is concerned, there are organizations, and they also have announced the code of ethics. So there is international IAS code, and which keeps on developing day to day, month to month, and whatever developments are there internationally, it is but natural for the institute to incorporate those developments into our code of conduct. Just to give one example, now internationally there is one provision of no-clar. That is, if you are doing some audit and you come across some other transgression, say if it is promoter and builder and certain RERA compliances are not made, or if it is manufacturer of say food or medicines, and certain FDA matters have not been complied with. So this non-compliances places limitations on business, and also it is hazardous for the purpose of stakeholders. So it is his responsibility that if there is non-compliance of any other law, then in his audit report he has to bring it out. So such developments internationally are happening. Now, taking note of these developments, we have to also walk with the time, with the globe, and with the professionals across the globe. So Ranjeet Bhai has been instrumental in doing this mammoth work, as was informed by Jagdish initially, that for 10 years it was not revised, but he has taken up upon himself this particular agenda, that yes, let us read, let us understand what is the code of ethics which has been implemented by ISBI, and then let us adopt it. Of course, whenever it is adopted, he has not simply copied it and put it in our code of ethics, but he has ensured that whatever is necessary from our Indian context, only those things get incorporated, and whatever, wherever some aberrations are there, some changes are required to be made, those need to be incorporated therein. And this very thing, that in case of non-compliance with other laws, there was certain reservation that maybe small firms may not be able to do, or in case of small audits it would be difficult. So there also certain leeway has been considered. In fact, there was certain negative provisions, it was told, about the percentage of fees, etc. Actually, those were misgivings. It was not a complete embargo. Internationally, if you exceed certain percentage, there is embargo on accepting the assignments. But in our code of conduct, we have made certain changes, and those changes, when Ranjit Bhai will unfold, you will understand that they are not really counterproductive for the purpose of our own profession. Likewise, what happens whenever any document comes up, people first think of negative things. So these negativities have come to fore. But then there are several positive issues in this particular code of ethics, and those are really very wonderful, because I very keenly listened to the presentation speech by Ranjit Kumar Agarwal to the council. So when there was at one point of time, it was decided that maybe we will defer implementation of code of ethics. And there, Ranjit Bhai has stated that it is not only negative feature, there are several positive features in this particular code of ethics. It is liberating professional clutches. So those things are also available. So please do not extend it. Whatever positive things are there, we will implement. And certain negative things, if there are reservations, maybe we will keep them on hold, have deliberations, maybe revisit those negative things, iron the negativities out, and then we will implement it. So with that proactive attitude, I think the council had no other alternative but to go ahead for this particular code of ethics. And it is imperative for all of us to understand what are all those provisions in code of ethics that really affect us. So it is not that all provisions he is going to deal, but generally wherever, as opposed to 2009 code of ethics, what are the developments, maybe on positive side, maybe on limiting side, those will be ably discussed by Ranjit Bhai. And let me place on record my sincere thanks to Ranjit Bhai for really honoring our study circle. Jagdish, in his introductory remarks, said that because I talked to Ranjit Bhai, he agreed. But it is not so. If any one of you talks to Ranjit Bhai, you will feel that he is so lion-hearted that he will immediately accede to your request if it is in the interest of the profession. So that is the quality of Ranjit Bhai, and we always admire and try to emulate this quality. He is really hardworking and devotes substantial time for the work of profession. So it is our good fortune that we are going to understand these niceties of code of ethics from the very author of this code of ethics. With this introduction, I thank once again everybody, and once again request everyone that excepting Ranjit Bhai, let us all be on mute so that the voice quality would be better and there won't be any disturbances. So thank you very much, and over to you, Ranjit Bhai.
Okay, so should we start, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, so very respected officer and convener of the study circle, Jagdish ji, Sachin Muniar ji, and my very senior and very respected council colleague, C.V. Chitle sir. And I admire him in the sense that he's not only the chairman of the corporate law committee, but the kind of inputs he gives in the council, practical inputs. Everybody has given the second thought before listening to him, and that's why many suggestions have been implemented with the advice of Chitle sir, and I respect him a lot. He is a very gem of a person. And all the viewers, some noise is coming. Can you tell them to please mute?
Just a minute. Sachin, as a
in fact, sir, I have muted all.
Ranjit Bhai. Please mute everybody excepting Ranjit Bhai, and I also once again appeal everybody to go on mute, because otherwise the voice quality gets disturbed. Please.
For a moment, I will unmute all and then mute everyone. Just give me a moment. Sir, I have actually muted all. Somebody is, I don't know what is happening. Baraskar sir, can you mute yourself? Baraskar sir, I am unable to mute you. Yes.
Sachin, what we will do, we will ask Ranjit Bhai to go ahead, and in the meanwhile, we will just locate who is on mute and we will call them and tell them to mute.
Yeah.
I will also check.
Okay. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity, convener and officer of the study circle, Jagdish ji, Sachin ji, and my council colleague Chitle sir. So we will start this code of ethics. Before that, just disclaimer, this UDN, I am not the author. The author is our your own people and my senior council colleague, S.B. Javade sir. 2011, he has given this concept to the council. Somehow it could not be implemented by various reasons, but we have just implemented the UDN, whatever concept Javade sir has given. So hats off to Javade sir, whatever UDN we could see because of S.B. Javade sir. So friends, now we will start this discussion. This core of ethics, as you are aware, some noise is coming, I think.
Bharakar sir, can you please mute yourself?
Yeah.
Somebody can call him and say.
Yeah, I'm calling him. Yes.
Sir, extremely sorry. You start. We will just call him and ask him to mute.
Okay. So, friends, next 45 minutes, we will discuss the nitty-gritty of this new code of ethics. At the same time, we will also know what are the existing 2009 code of ethics, which was the last revised code of ethics. And then we have revised in 2019 this new code of ethics. So, as a member of the institute, whether you are in practice or job or a business, whatever, if you are a member of the ICI, you are mandatorily required to comply all these regulation act, CA Act, regulation, various accounting auditing standards, assurance and engagement and review standards, guidance note, technical guide, various council decisions, and the most important part is the code of ethics. Now, code of ethics is just a council guideline. So every council guideline is mandatory required by every member of the institute. That's why code of ethics is also a mandatory provision. When this code of ethics was started in 1963-64, then President C.R.C. Cooper, while presenting this code of conduct, that point of time it was code of conduct, he has said that in the larger interest of the institute, the council exhorts all members to search their hearts and concise whenever in doubt, and thereby assist towards the maintenance of high principle of professional conduct established by this council. This is the opening statement given by then President, and this is true, applicably true in today's time also. So the concept and the vision he has given that point of time. Ethics is a state of mind, and our code of ethics says that whenever you are confronted with some situation like something is legal but not ethical. So our code of ethics says even if something is legal but not ethical, then our members should not resort to those kind of practices. Ethics is a lawful, at the same time it's awful. And why we are called professional than rest of the people of this country? Because the professional has two fundamental principles to follow. Number one, professional has the code of ethics, and number two, professional does not consider personal gain primary objective. The personal gain becomes secondary, and the society, the stakeholder interest becomes primary. That's why we are called professionals, because we cannot be called businessmen. We are professional in the sense we have the larger responsibility towards the society. That's why our personal gain takes the back seat, and our society and stakeholder interest becomes the primary, and that is the word professional has been given to very select few people of this country. Ethics, as we discussed, ethics, the fundamental said that ethics is a social endeavor which permits our mindset, which can orient our judgment. It's true because it motivates our judgment and mindset while deciding any course of action. Ethics play an important role, and in this, the role ethics play in the accounting profession, we cannot overstate, because accountants are more prone to go through the ethics. That's why accountants are no strangers to dealing with the complex and challenging situations, and how this ethics can be sustainable environment, society, and governance. All these three jargon or three major points which connect us through the ethics. That's why ethics are important in the sense that when you talk about the sustainability, environment, society, and the governance, how ethics can play a bigger role, that is the concern our professionals have, and that's why in all these situations, ethics play a very, very important role. As I told you, 1963, that point of time, Code of Conduct was first time introduced in our institute. 2001, it was revised and it was renamed as a Code of Ethics. And now 2009, last revision of this Code of Ethics, first time it was aligned with the international ethics. There is a IFAC body and there is a International Ethical Standard Board of Accountants, ISBA. Like same line we have ESB committee in the ICI, so they have the ISBA in IFAC. And so they come out with the Code of Ethics every second year. And last 2009, we have aligned the 2005 Code of Ethics. And after the gap of 2005 to 18, 13 years, we could not revise our Code of Ethics with the international parameter. So last year, we have revised the 2018 code with our Code of Ethics in parallel with the global practice which we are following. But having said that, there are some provision in our Code of Ethics, Indian Code of Ethics, which are more stringent than international Code of Ethics. Like in our India, statutory auditor cannot do the internal audit of the same entity, but globally it is permitted. We are not supposed to charge based on the contingent fees or percentage of basis with some exceptions. We have our management consultancy guideline, we have advertisement guideline, website guideline, logo guideline, directory guideline, UDIN guideline, tender guideline. All these kinds of guidelines which council frame from time to time are not prevalent in the rest of the world. So that's why we feel proud in many ways our profession is regulated by our ethics more stringently than the rest of the world. And you would be happy to know that India Ethical Standard Board was established in 1975 by ICI. After seeing Indian ICI has established a Ethical Standard Board, International Federation of IFAC has established ISBA in 1 year after 1976. So as far as ethics and other parameters are concerned, India has always taken a lead, and it is not like today we are following. Since our historical days, Ramayana and Mahabharata, ethics plays an important role in our well-being of the humankind. That's why India is taking the leads in ethics. And what are the repercussions if anybody don't follow the Code of Ethics? As I told you, Code of Ethics is a council guideline, and we have Schedule 2, Part 2, Clause 1. I call it 221. Schedule 2, Part 2, Clause 1, which says non-adherence to the council guideline is a professional misconduct. So on the same line, if we are not following the Code of Ethics, then it is a professional misconduct. Globally, ethics has been framed or conceptualized based on 5 fundamental principles, and India is no exception to this. Integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. These are the 5 pillars on the basis of which entire Code of Ethics, our CA Act regulation, has been formulated, and this practice is prevalent in all parts of the world wherever accounting bodies are there. But when we have formulated this Code of Ethics, so there are 3 major highlights. I call it, these are the basic Code of Ethics which we are supposed to know and follow in letter and spirit. Like accountants, we call it accountants are required. What is the expectation from the accountant by the stakeholder society, and why this Code of Ethics has come? Because accountants are required to be honest and competent, and should not associate with misleading or fraudulent information. These are the fundamental expectations from the accountant by our Code of Ethics. In the fast-changing environment of technology innovation, accountants must be agile, alert, and open to continuous learning and upskilling. When we qualify, we are said, this year I qualify. So being a qualified particular moment or a time, I cannot have all the wisdom of the world. At that point of time, I have become qualified. But now to be qualified throughout your lifetime, you have to be continuously learning and upskilling yourself till you retire or till your life. Because just 1 year you have qualified, that year is not that you have all the wisdom. To remain qualified, to discharge your duty, the ethics says continuous learning and upskilling is the need. A accountant should be there. Otherwise, they will not be considered as qualified. They may be qualified on the paper, but mentally and the knowledge wise, they cannot be say qualified. And accountant cannot cave under pressure, nor can they turn a blind eye whenever they witness some illegal or illicit behavior. So these are the three expectations from the accountant by our code of ethics, which has been formulated since 1963. And if you go to the this Netflix, there is a series called Troubled Water, and that series very smartly and very beautifully depicts the relationship between ethics and the sustainability. So whenever you get chance, you must see this Troubled Water Netflix series. Ethics and sustainability, how they are correlated and they go together. So these are the message in this series is there, and these are the three fundamental expectations from our code of ethics, from all the accountants. We have two schedules in our CA Act, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. When you talk about Schedule 1, there are 19 clauses, and all these 19 clauses talks about the misconduct which the accountants are doing, which are affecting the fraternity inside. The outsiders are not involved. These misconducts are affecting inside the fraternity, like sharing of the fees, taking non-member as a partner, solicitation, advertisement, non-communication with the previous auditor, charging on the percentage basis. All these are the conduct or misconduct which are affecting the profession inside, and that's why that is bucketed in Schedule 1. And non-compliance of the Schedule 1, any of the provisions of the Schedule 1, is attracts the three kind of provisions, proceedings can be initiated by this Board of Discipline. It's a 3-member bench. 2 are the council member and 1 is the government nominee. These 3-member bench, which is called Board of Discipline, decide either they can reprimand you or they can remove your name for maximum 3 months from the register of member, or 1 lakh rupees penal provision, monetary provision. Now come to the Schedule 2. Schedule 2 has 15 clauses. These 15 clauses talks about those misconduct which are affecting outside the fraternity, stakeholder, government, regulator, all the stakeholders. If they are affected by your misconduct, they are being bucketed in Schedule 2. Like you are grossly negligent. You have not reported the facts which are materially departure from the facts, or you have given some false information. So these are the 15 clauses which are affecting the stakeholder, and that's why it's bucketed in Schedule 2. And there is a disciplinary committee, which is a 5-member bench. 3 are the government nominee and 2 are the 3 are the council member, 2 are the government nominee. And I'm happy to tell you that Chitle sir is one of the member of this disciplinary committee in our institute. So he's the one of the council member in one of the bench. And this bench has the mandate to pronounce this proceeding if you have violated any of the provision. So they have the 3 kind of pronouncement. Either they can reprimand you, permanently they can remove the member's name from the register, and 5 lakh rupees monetary penalty, either 1 or 2, depending on the wisdom of this disciplinary committee. So Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, it comes 34 clauses in our CA Act, and Code of Ethics is just a commentary of these 34 clauses, what you can do, what you cannot do, what are the various council guidelines framed in the course of time. Are in addition to these 2 schedules, various guidelines are there. So this Code of Ethics is just that, 34 clauses commentary and the various guidelines given by the council, which we call Code of Ethics. So we will discuss the important aspects of this Code of Ethics. There are 5 kinds of threats in our Code of Ethics, which says self-interest threat, self-review threat, advocacy threat, familiarity threat, and intimidation threat. So what is the self-interest threat? Suppose in a tender document, you are quoting a fee which is so low that you yourself are aware that you cannot justify the compliance of the various accounting auditing standards, but still you are quoting that low fees. This is the example of self-interest threat. You have a close relationship with your client, 20, 30 years. Your family and the client family go together, holiday, that kind of closeness is there. This code of ethics says this is also example of self-interest threat. You have purchased a joint property with your audit client, is an example of self-interest threat, or you have given a loan or taken a loan. As per our code of ethics, loan beyond 1 lakh, indebtedness beyond 1 lakh is not permissible. Earlier it was 10,000, now it has become 1 lakh from 1st of July 2020. So if these are the examples of self-interest threat. Self-review threat talks about, suppose you have developed some software or a system for a client. Now the reports are generated by that system and you yourself are auditing the accounts and reports which has been generated by the system developed by yourself. So this is the example of the self-review threat. Advocacy threat talks about, suppose one of the provision or the para of a section or act is affecting your client and you are lobbying with the government, legislature to remove that particular section clause because that section is hitting your client, their interest is hit by that provision and you are lobbying. So this is the advocacy threat. So they are saying a government or an institute or an organization, association represent, that's a fine. But individually as an auditor, if you are making advocacy to the government for removal of particular section, is an example of advocacy threat. Your client wants to come out with an IPO. Now you are making a calls and circulating this news to your friend, relative, other, please subscribe to this IPO. Since your IPO happens to your client and you are the auditor, you cannot market your client IPO with the rest of the world. These are the example of advocacy threat. Familiarity threat talks about, suppose your spouse is a CEO or CFO in a company and you want to do the audit of that company. This is the familiarity threat. Your immediate ex-partner has resigned from your firm and joined a company in a senior position and you want to do the audit in the very next year, is an example of familiarity threat. Accepting gifts on Holi, Deepavali, birthday, anniversary from the client and the amount is very substantial, is an example of familiarity threat. Approaching your client to sponsor any particular event of Pune branch or any of the institute activity, you are approaching your client to please give some sponsorship, is an example of familiarity. Because using your position as an auditor, you are influencing your client to give some sponsorship in which you are directly attached, is an example of familiarity threat. And the last is the intimidation. Suppose you have accepted the gift on Holi, Deepavali, birthday, anniversary from your client and now you want to qualify your client's report. Now the client is threatening that if you qualify my report, I will make it public that you have accepted a gift from me. So these are the coercion. In the bank branch audit, if the manager is saying if you make this MOC, you will not get the next year audit. But whether he or she has the power to allow audit, that we have, but they are threatening you. So these are the examples of, suppose your client says, if you qualify my report, I will not give you other non-audit services, which are permitted as per ICI, as per Section 144 of the Companies Act. So these are the examples of the intimidation threat. The beauty of this code of ethics is that all kind of these threats you can identify, you can enlist, and now you just decide how you can try to reduce or eliminate this threat, which can be reduced to the acceptable level. Once you are in a position to identify these threats, and the code of ethics gives you a chance to identify and try to reduce this threat so that it can be brought down to the acceptable level, then it's fine. You can continue. But if you are not in a position to reduce this threat to the acceptable level, then you have to withdraw from that assignment. So these 5 kinds of threats are very, very important in addition to our 2 schedules and CA Act. and regulation. Because if you see the go to the portal of the NFRA, 2-3 orders they have given. In all the order, they have mentioned specifically these 5 kinds of threats. They have mentioned various provision of the Code of Ethics, International Code of Ethics, Indian Code of Ethics, company law, SA, ASA, all these things they have mentioned. So threats which are affecting our judgment are very, very important, and it's not like you are complying with accounting standard other. Whether you are involved in this kind of activity also are concern of the regulator, and you can be held guilty of the professional misconduct if you are not in a position to take care of these 5 kind of threats. Then we will discuss this rotation. As you are aware, we have section 139 to company talks about rotation of the auditor, 5 years for individual and 10 years for firm. We have RBI guideline which talks about cooling of auditor in branch audit and central statutory audit. We have Housing Finance Company Board which talks about rotation of auditor in that company. We have SEBI guideline which talks about rotation of auditor, audit of the stock broker and mutual fund. Employees Provident Fund Scheme 1952 also talks about rotation of auditor. And we have SQC1, Standard of Quality Control 1, issued by the ICAI in 2009, which talks about how to regulate the firm. And in that regulation, there is a provision that if you are auditor of a listed company, so after 7 years to audit that company, next 2 years you cannot be the auditor of that company. So the 2-year cooling is mandatory as per SQC1. Does that mean you should resign from that company? No. SQC1 also says, in addition to that, in that 2 years, the partner or the audit partner, the engagement partner who has done in the last 7 years cannot be involved for next 2 years. Your another partner can be roped in for the audit of this next 2 years, and from 10th year onwards, the previous partner can come back. So this threat which the SQC1 talks about, and they are also giving a solution so that the independence of the auditor can be maintained. And that's why 7+2 provision has been prescribed in our SQC1. And this is not the news. So 2009 announcement of the ICAI. In the case of proprietorship or individual firm, if you want to do the audit of a listed company, your firm must get peer reviewed as per the ICAI peer review board. And this is the SEBI guideline. SEBI has come out with this guideline. If you want to do the audit of a listed company, your firm, individual or proprietor, must be reviewed. For the partnership, it's deemed to be there. It has to be there. But for individual and proprietor, it has to be peer reviewed. Otherwise, you cannot do the audit of a listed company. Now we will discuss some of the provision of this new Code of Ethics. In 2009 Code of Ethics, we have Part A and Part B. Now, Part A talks about the international provision aligned as per the requirement of the domestic provision in India, with some carve out that was given in Part A. Now, this year we have renamed that Part A as Volume 1. Part B talks about all these 34 clauses commentary. What are do's and don'ts in 34 clauses of 2 schedules, in addition to various council guidelines. So this is the Part B, which we have renamed as a Volume 2. And this third volume we have come out this year, which is the commentary, which is the compilation of the 1949 to 2019, 17 years, a decision of the various council and the disciplinary committee. Important decision we have compiled here. There are 484 case law, which has been bifurcated as per clause-wise, topic-wise, and various pronouncement-wise, so that you can have a fair idea of what are the decision of the council and the disciplinary committee in these kind of situations. So suppose in this case law referencer, you search communication with the previous auditor. So all the case law decided in this subject will come to your screen, 20, 30, 40 case law. And we have just kept this one case law in one paragraph, just to give you the crux. What are the decision of the council in that particular case? Not entire case law we have not given, just one paragraph, one case law. So you can go through it, then you will understand what are the decision of the council in these kind of situations, like non-payment of stipend to article, or non-communication with the previous auditor, or any advertisement guideline, or any non-audit service. Whatever comes to your mind, you just search on that line, and the case law related to that particular search will come on your screen, and you can take your call. So this case law referencer will help you to guide you in taking your decision and discharging your professional duty in a best possible manner. So this will be handy for every professional who can keep for all their decision making. In this new code of ethics, a new concept has come, which is called administrative service. Now, as you are aware, the CA are permitted to do, in addition to audit, the taxation services of their client also. But that was not expressly written for other service. So now we have expressly written in this new code of ethics, in addition to the audit which you are serving your audit client, you can also do the normal clerical work of your client where professional judgment is not required, like filing of the various returns, whether it's a GST return, income tax return, ROC return, TDS return, all these kinds of returns, you are just collecting the data which has already been audited, and you are just uploading to the various regulators with the consent of your client. There is no professional judgment, you are just collecting the data and giving to the regulator with your signature. So the institute said in this, if these kind of services are permitted to the same audit client by the practicing CA. So this now we have expressly written in code of ethics. So this will help our SMP, small and medium practicing CA, in a great extent. Like in ICI, there are 90,000 firms. Out of 90,000 firms, 72% are proprietorship firms, and 27% are firm having 10 partners and less than 10 partners. So literally, out of 90,000 firms, 99% firms are 10 partners and below and proprietors. So this provision is going to benefit all these 99% firms of the ICI. Taxation service, a new provision has come that if you are an audit of a public interest entity, which is called listed company, then the valuation work you cannot undertake of that same entity. This new provision has come in taxation service, but for the time being, pandemic, as Chief Minister has told you in the beginning, that we have taken a call to some of the debatable provision we have deferred for the time being, except those the deferred provision, the code of ethics is applicable from 1st of July 2020. This is also a very debatable issue. If your one single client fee is more than 15% of your total fees of the firm in last 2 consecutive years, then this provision says in that situation, you have to disclose this fact to that particular client or those charged with the government. So if you are taking an audit or some work from a particular client and that fees of that client is more than 15% of your total fees of the firm of the last 2 years, then this aspect you have to disclose that your fees is more than the 15% of my total fees. So this is just a disclosure requirement, but since it was a debatable issue, in spite of some exemptions are already there while calculating this 15%, like 5 lakhs is exempted, audit of the government company, PSU, bank, all these things are exempted, but still some debates were going on. So that's why this provision has also been deferred for the time being. The idea behind this 15% is how much you are dependent on one particular client, like long relationship, 20, 30 years, and you are catering to only 1 or 2 clients. And if that client goes, what you will do? So if you are too much dependent on 1 or 2 clients, so this provision has been brought. Internationally, it is applicable. We have deferred for the time being. Then NOCLAR, as Chitlis rightly told you, we have SA 250 from 149/2009, which talks about the compliance of the various financial laws of that particular client. But NOCLAR says non-compliance with other laws and regulations, which are in addition to the financial regulation applicable to that particular client. So this no-collar provision says if you are audit of a public interest entity and while discharging your duty as an audit or in course of audit, if you come across some non-compliance of other laws and regulations, then it is your duty to report this aspect to the management. This is the provision of the no-collar. So you cannot say, I keep my eyes closed because that is not the scope of my work. Like any environmental flaws or violation is there, or any SEBI guideline violation or insider trading is there, or any money laundering or other things are there. So you come across while doing the audit. So you cannot say ki I am not has been given scope of the work for this client, I will not report. No. This no-collar says in those situations also, if you come across, you don't have to go to investigate. But while doing the audit, you came to know. Now you cannot say I will not report. You cannot keep a blind eye. So this is the spirit of this no-collar provision. If you come across, you have to bring this fact to the knowledge of the manager. And most importantly, this no-collar provision is equally applicable to member in industry. So if a chartered accountant working in a company and the CA is aware of the various non-compliance by that company where he or she is working, it is the duty of that CA in that company to bring these facts to the management. If management does not listen, to the auditor. If auditor does not listen, then to the respective regulator or the government. So this three-layer approach has been given in this new code of ethics, which are applicable to member in industry also, in addition to member in practice. So this has a huge ramification as far as fraud and corruption happening in our country. Many times we report as per explanation and information given by the management. And in that management, some chartered accountant is there, and they are not giving you the required information. And later on, it was established that that particular CA was aware of this non-compliance. Then that CA in that company will equally responsible for professional misconduct. So this is also a very important provision, but for pandemic reason, this provision has also been deferred, but sooner or later, this will be applicable later point of time. Then the most important provision of this new code of ethics is documentation. As you are aware, Key Institute has come out with a KYC guideline, Know Your Client guideline from January 17, in which they have given a format in which these details should be filled up and put in the working paper file of your particular client. This was the mandatory provision from 17. Now in this new code of ethics, earlier our code of ethics does not talk about much about documentation, but this new code of ethics says for every provision there is a separate paragraph of documentation, and they say every audit client file must have these documented paragraph in writing in black and white. We said you must mention some facts about the client. What is the client, in which area you operate, what is the industry, some information about the client. What are the accounting and auditing standards applicable to particular client, you have to mention. What are the communication you have exchanged with your client while discharging a duty as an auditor, that you have to mention. How that query was addressed by that client, that you have to mention. And how you have tried to bring your professional judgment while resolving the various issues of that client, that you have to. So all these details of the audit requirement has to be mentioned in every working paper file of every client. This is the mandatory provision from 1st July 2020, and in our case, as I told you, 99% are SMP, and the problem and the challenge we have, large firms do lot of documentation, less audit. We do lot of audit, less documentation. To curb this gap, to remove this gap, this very welcome provision has come in our new code of ethics, which will be help our SMP firm to have proper documentation while discharging our duty. a new paragraph has been added in the provision of resignation of auditor. So when you are making a communication with the previous auditor, a new paragraph has been added that if the incoming auditor writes to the previous auditor that please let me know what are the non-compliance you are aware in this company since last year you were the auditor. And if the incoming auditor writes this aspect to the previous auditor, this new code of ethics says the previous auditor is duty bound to supply the information to the incoming auditor of any non-compliance if he or she is aware to the incoming auditor diligently. Diligently he or she has to provide if the incoming auditor asks and he or she is aware. If you are aware, you have to provide. If you are not aware, fine. So, but what will happen after this provision, every new auditor while writing for NOC to the previous auditor also add this line in the letter of communication with the previous auditor. And once he writes this paragraph, then the previous auditor has to supply or he has to tell to the incoming auditor, yes, in this company these are the non-compliant. Now he cannot just say because of my preoccupation I am resigning. If he or she is aware, he has to communicate with the incoming auditor. This is the spirit of this new provision in resignation of auditor. And as you are aware, from 1st May 2020, we have already added one more option while communicating with the previous auditor, that is email ID. Now, in addition to the registered AD and the personal delivery, email ID can also be used to communicate with the previous auditor, provided the person responds to that email. The moment he responds, the communication is over. So this is the new option we have given. Advertisement guideline, a new liberalized policy has been taken by the ICIC. Some of the advertisement provision guideline has been liberated, and that's why now if while making a presentation in TV debate or a seminar, your firm name was not permitted earlier. Now your firm name has been permitted to be mentioned. YouTube channel, you can equally have the YouTube channel, but YouTube channel has to be in your personal name, not in the firm name. And we have a two model of advertisement, that is pull model and push model. So pull model is okay, push model is not permitted. So you cannot push the link of this YouTube channel to the members at large to please come and visit. That is not permission. But if somebody is aware and he wants to come and see, that's fine. Social media, we have also aligned with our advertisement guideline, because 2009 social media was not so active and popular, but now whatever website guideline we have is equally applicable to the social media also. So now you can go through that. Then this visiting card, you can also mention this insolvency, professional or registered valuer. If you are there, you can very well mention in your visiting card. And as far as sponsorship of any CSR event is there, you can do that in your individual name. Your firm name or CA logo is not permitted, but individual name is permitted. There are other sections of this code of ethics, like which talks about corporate form of practice, wherein in addition to your firm, you can also have the corporate form of practice wherein non-audit service, management consultancy service as per section 224 of the CA can be undertaken. In that, to have a corporate form of practice, you can apply to the CA Institute for a firm name. All the director of that company has to be practicing CA. The shareholder has to be your director and their relative. So if you satisfy all these conditions, in addition to your CA form, you can have your corporate entity also where you can be a director and do the non-audit service in that. And tender guideline is already, you are aware, from 2006, we have come out with the tender guideline. Networking guideline is in the process. Very soon it will be notified. And the multidisciplinary. Recently, Institute has also passed that Institute member can have the multidisciplinary partnership with other professional body like cost accountant, company secretary, advocate, engineer, architect, MBA. They can have this because we have the enabling provision of section 53A and B of the CA regulation 88, which talks about the multidisciplinary. Why it is not notified? Because other professional bodies are not amending their guidelines, but we have taken a call that we can go ahead. If other members will not notify, then we are in the process to persuade them, like CS Institute and Cost Accountant, so that they can also amend their guidelines. So these are some of the important aspects of this code of ethics. The last case law I would like to mention, this is a Supreme Court decision in 1957, which talks about B. Mukherjee case, which says if a council thinks a member is prima facie guilty of a professional misconduct, even though the conduct is not enlisted in all the 34 clauses, Schedule 1 and Schedule 2, that kind of conduct is not enlisted. In spite of that, if the council thinks that the member is guilty of professional misconduct, the council has the power to make that member guilty of the professional misconduct. So these are the 1957 judgments. So with these words, these are some of the highlights of this code of ethics. If you go through all the 3 volume 1, 2, 3, which are hosted online, you will feel that this new code of ethics has a far-reaching implication in the profession, in our faculty, and you will be very knowledgeable going through all this provision of that. If you have any questions, I am ready to take questions. So with these words, I thank the study circle, Jagdish ji and Maniar ji, and my council colleague, a senior member, which I admire and respect a lot. So thank you very much for giving a chance.
Well, thank you, Ranjeet bhai. It was indeed very informative and throwing light on various aspects which otherwise may not be noticed. I think you have at the end recommended that you read 3 volumes and then appraise yourself about the code of ethics. But people are doing tax audit and other work, so they may not be able to spare at this moment time to read those 3 volumes. That was the reason that we organized your lecture, and I think by and large we have succeeded. Now I think floor is open for any questions. If there are any questions, you can unmute yourself and please ask.
Or else if you have any question, you can even raise the hands. There is an option for raising the hands in WebEx, and we can unmute the respective participant. Yeah. Sir, Durgesh Sabne sir has some query. Yes, Sabne sir, you have been unmuted. Hello. Durgesh sir.
Yes.
Yes, you have been unmuted. You have some query, right?
No, I don't have query.
Okay.
No, Durgesh bhai is clear about code of ethics. I think Sanjay Bapat wants to ask.
Okay. Okay, I'll just unmute him. Yes, Bapat sir, you are unmuted. Chitra sir, I think erroneously he has unmuted himself.
Only as regards multidisciplinary firm, as you are aware that maybe council has approved this multidisciplinary firm. Now some other institutions like company secretaries, cost accountants, they also approved. Advocates are yet to approve. As far as these engineers, architects, etc. are concerned, we are not aware whether there is embargo. But then soon these multidisciplinary firms would be a reality. At present, there is challenge about the forms, because when you empanel your firm, the name of chartered accountant, etc. is required to be given. So soon the committee group will come out. And since there is time, let me also inform that in case of tax audit, as we are aware that Ranjeet bhai is heading this tax audit quality review board. So there also this TQRB has published one booklet wherein common errors have been captured. What are the common errors that are contended? And one error I would just highlight is in case of audit is carried out under which section, and there under which clause, 44 A, B, C, which clause. So there, say take example of a company, what the TQRB has observed is generally A is stated, but if you refer to A simply says that you are in a business and your turnover exceeds a certain limit, then it is applicable. But then if you go to proviso, the third proviso says that if your accounts are otherwise audited, then it will be sufficient that if you give those particulars. So really this audit of company is done under that proviso and not under clause A. So that has been highlighted in this booklet which has been published by Ranjeet Bhai. If you want to highlight some other errors, maybe that would be also contributing the members. Ranjeet Bhai.
Yes.
In the meanwhile, you can type the queries on chat box as well.
Yes, sir. I have to speak. Hello?
Yes, Ranjit sir, Chitresh sir were asking your comments on the points.
See about that tax audit, those limitations that you have brought out in this TQRB.
Yes, sir. We have come out with this new checklist wherein we have mentioned what to write 44A or 44AB or third proviso. So all these points we have highlighted because this was a common error our members are used to do. So third proviso says if you are doing the audit in other law, only then you can mention 44AB. Otherwise, all these things are come under 44AB. So this is the highlight we have given in our checklist. And moreover, this new checklist will help you. Suppose you are giving this checklist to your article and the staff, and 90% if he fills up, then the rest of the 10% you can do and audit is completed. And this is in addition to what our code of ethics says, documentation. So this checklist will help you to have a documented file for every particular client, which we are not having right now. So this will help our SMP firm to have every file for every one particular client, which will help you in the later part of your process.
Queries in chat box, I'll just read them.
Yes.
One is from Chairman of the Branch, Honorable CA Abhishek. It is from Ashutosh Dapke. Whether a CA who is not holding COP can have multidisciplinary firm / company with other professionals like CS, lawyers, etc.
No. Because the there are two aspects: multidisciplinary or corporate form of practice.
Both he is asking, corporate as well as multidisciplinary.
For as far as corporate form of practice, the member has to be in practicing CA. Non-practicing CA are not permitted. Number one. For multidisciplinary, we have just passed in the council that we will go for audit or non-audit both the service. But right now this detailed guideline will be in place. So the form is in the preparation. Shekhar sir was the chairman of this group. So detailed guideline will be come out very soon in this regard. Whether you can do for audit service, non-audit service, practicing CA, not practicing CA, all this will be come to know recently.
Exactly. We are not only notifying forms, but we will also come out with question answers and guidelines so that these issues will be addressed in that particular guideline.
Yes.
I think Ranjit Bhai has covered elaborately everything. So if we don't have queries, maybe we can proceed for.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, Chitresh sir, for giving a chance to interact with the member of the study circle.
It was our pleasure that we had a chance to listen to you uninterruptedly.
So, thank you, CA Ranjit Agarwal sir, for sparing time and enlightening us about new code of ethics changes. I, on behalf of the Sarasbaug CP Study Circle, once again thank you for giving us a detailed explanation on the things. And surely I will assure you that as and when we get some time from the tax audits that we are busy with, we will surely go through the new code of ethics, and in case if we have any queries, maybe we will collate all those queries and get back to you over email, sir, for your guidance.
Sure,
Thank you very much once again.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Only it is uploading, but one query has been asked in this chat box by Vinayak Tele, that can a whole-time practice start private coaching into bracket tuition, and whether ICAI permission is required for the same.
There is a provision in our CA Act which says services are generally permissible, in which tuitions are permitted to the practicing member. Only catch is 25 hours in a week. There cannot be more than 25 hours a week, although it's a satellite time. So you can have 24 all across the country, or satellite is there, that can be permissible. But 25 hours in a week has been permitted to practicing members.
Yeah, only Pune Chartered Accountants are global also, so across the globe they can have. Yes, so thank you, Ranjeet bhai, and I also thank Sachin Maniyar for and Jagdish Dongre for effectively coordinating this particular event. And once the opening up starts, I think we would be more than happy to invite physically Ranjeet bhai over here.
Okay.
And along with seminar, we can also have some discussion over a cup of tea.
Sure, sir. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.